I didn't really have any knockdown, drag-out fights. I saw several of them when I was a kid. When I was in Department 5, not the 500, into 156, the wire crib. There was a lot of anxiety in this because of we had a lot of people there who had relatives working there. And, you know, it was one of those things where at one time they even put me on the second shift to manage 50 women.
Wow.
50 women, can you imagine? Actually, 46 women and 4 men. And these, I had a lot of problems with the women wanting to fight each other. In fact, we had to call the guards several times because they were having knockdown, drag-out fights. I mean, hair pulling, hitting each other and all kinds of stuff.
Wow.
Calling each other bad names. It was a real struggle.
And you were the official
I
manager.
was there, yeah, I was. And I lasted at that job about 5 or 6 weeks. I told my boss, get me out of here. I can't take this anymore. And finally, that's when they decided to let me go down out of the wire crib to the final assembly. And they gave me, I think, a dozen electricians, and we started building the F3H Demon. And that's why I got out of the wire crib, because I just couldn't take it, constant fighting. And then, see what happens is, when one of those people, she happened to have, I think it was 2 brothers, 2 uncles, and her father working at McDonnell Douglas.
Wow.
So they'd come by and see me, what happened? I got tired of that stuff, so I told them, I don't care where I go, just get me out of here. And they finally put me in final assembly. That's why I went down there, building an airplane in front of the door. And because they needed help down there, and they decided, well, P&G's asked for a transfer out. Why don't we give it to them? So they did. It was a good break, actually, because I'd just been looking at one part of the airplane. A wire bundle here, and a panel here, and a wire bundle here. But there, I got to put them all together and operate the operational part, the flaps, ailerons, all that kind of stuff. It was really good. I enjoyed that.
After that, have you tried to get into the management again?
No.
Is there any chance?
No.
No.
I decided after I finally got out of the final assembly, I went to Department 500, and I went to writing tech manuals for Dale Kaiser. And I went into the technical end from then on. I decided I'd have enough of that management stuff because in a lot of cases, management gets the accolades, but they also get the grief a lot of times. And I decided, well, I looked at the pay scales. They were about the same as far as making money. I could make as much money in the technical side, so I decided to stay there. I never really seriously considered getting into the management end anymore because, that's maybe one of the reasons I was happy because I didn't have all that grief.
But for the first try of the management job, did you ask for it?
No, not really. They wanted me to be, they thought, you're good management material. You get along with people and, you can do it.
You were drafted.
And I thought, man, well, you know what they did? They didn't put me immediately into a management job. I went to school 3 months for that.
Oh.
13 weeks
Mm-hmm.
with, I think 11 other guys. There was a dozen of us. In fact, someplace around here I have a picture of that original group. 1953 management class. First management class in McDonnell Douglas.
Is that right?
For the management division. That's right. And later on, they all became assistant foreman, superintendents, all kinds of stuff in the shop and in final assembly and in sub-assembly and on the flight line too. So, yeah, and we had classes. You know, we even had classes on speed reading.
Oh.
They'd flash a thing on the wall, on a screen, and you're supposed to read that stuff. I think a 60th of the second or something like that, and we did all that. We did a lot of stuff, and we took a lot of psychological tests. We took all kinds of tests and did a lot of work. And then, in fact, according to my interest and lots of other things, they said, Bill, you should have been a lawyer. I said, now you tell me. And, and they said, well, that's good. And then after this class, they put me in the training department, and I worked for Bill Rimmert, whose son used to modify aircraft for the rich people. You know, he'd modernize it, like they do those wagons now. You know those, and two of my students, believe it or not, were John and James McDonald.
Wow.
They were students of mine, and I taught them how to drill a hole, how to put a rivet in, how to build a little box, you know. That's before they went to Princeton, of course. I mean, that was like between first and second year of college. The old man, Mr. McDonald, he loved people working from the ground up.
Yeah.
He was a believer in making people learn the job. So his sons started out, and Mr. McDonald himself, he used to come down to class all the time. He'd check with Bill Rumert and say, how they doing, Bill? Bill'd say, well, they're not giving me any trouble. He's doing pretty good, Mr. McDonald. And finally, I heard him say one day to Bill, you know, if you ever have any trouble with him, let me know. I'll take care of it. I thought, uh-oh. You know, you're not too big to mind your daddy, so I did that too. I did that kind of stuff. I did a lot of stuff with me. I even swept the floor in between airplanes. Well, they put me in the service crib, you know, the parts crib. And when we weren't pulling parts and putting them on a cart and take them down the line, we didn't have anything to do. They didn't want to fire us, because if they fired us or laid us off, they had to rehire and retrain people. So they put you any place they could figure out a way to do it. This was in 1951 and 2. And I did a little floor sweeping. I did anything they asked me to do. So I figured, well, what the heck? That's why I decided I'd get another job one day. And I tried to go to the FBI, and they wouldn't take me. So I thought, if they don't want me, well, I'd just stay here. And I really enjoyed my time there at McDonnell Douglas.
I didn't hear of any management training like what you described before. Did they continue to do that?
No. Well, they had another class after mine. but I think they stopped it after that. I don't know why. I know that we were a class of I think a dozen, and then or 15 maybe, and we were there 13 weeks. The next class following us was like same 15, but there were I think it was only 9 weeks or something, and I'm not sure, but I think they after that they dropped it. I don't know. I don't know why, but I thought it was a very good thing because you not only got a little technical, but you also got how to manage people. You know, how to handle people rather than roughshod over them. You know, I'm going to take you out behind the woodshed and beat you up. That was the original way people used to do in this country. You know, to find a foreman, they'd have a boxing match and knock down drag out and see who's the winner. And the winner, you're the foreman.
Okay.
Well, we decided McDonnell Douglas we weren't going to go into that, so they tried to do and it worked. It was really helpful.
But before that first training class, how did they pick the manager?
I guess the people who were there the longest. You know, the bosses prior to this training class, which didn't happen until '53, and they'd had a lot of people there ahead of that, and I guess they just grew up in the ranks. After you got to know as much as or more than anybody else, so they made you the foreman or whatever it was, you know. And I know a friend of mine, Joe Cressman, the guy we met down at the, he was a experimental mechanic before the Second World War. He hired in 39 or 40. Then he went into the military. He took a leave to go in the military. Then he came back and started in again. And he had a badge number of 1954, which is pretty low. Because mine, when I got there in 51, was 28066.
28066.
So there's a big difference. So, and a lot of those guys that were experimental mechanics, they made them assistant foremen, stuff like that, foremen. That's how they got their management ahead of the classes. Then after the classes, I don't know how they did. I guess they figured they had enough managers. I don't know. But it was not it didn't seem to continue. But it was a good thing.
So you did find some way to utilize your college education.
Oh, I finally did, yeah.
Right? Yeah. Did you find any way to utilize your aerospace knowledge outside of the company?
Outside of the company?
I heard that the aerospace technology eventually go into everywhere.
Probably, yeah. I know we brought a lot of stuff in. You know, the only reason they can build airplanes now is because of the computer. And all the people that they use the stuff. And as far as using aerospace technology outside, I'm sure they do, but I wasn't involved in any of it.
But in terms of, I don't mean exactly the hard technology, but the soft skill like the management or whatever you pick up.
Yeah.
Did you find that you're using something that you gained from the company?
In my own personal life?
Yeah, or whatever.
I don't think so.
No, you don't.
I don't believe so. Right now, I'm a trustee in this subdivision. I help, manage the little common property and what little money we got and stuff like that. Then I'm in a garden club, and I haven't done. I haven't been able to use anything there. I belong to the Masonic groups,